power, greed, corruption.
Some things never change. The struggle, the injustice, the hunger for power. Decades ago, Hernandez called out society's predators, leaders who fed on public resources, while ordinary citizens bore the cost.
But today, does this story still play in our streets, our schools, our government?
This documentary explored the patterns, the power, and the consequences from the post-war era to the headline of today. The question is simple, yet urgent.
Amado Hernandez, a national artist for literature, wrote mga Ibong Mandaragit as a powerful critic for post-war Philippine society. Through this novel, he exposed the greed of political elites, the manipulations of the masses, and the cycle of corruptions that persisted even after the war, showing that Filipinos still suffering not from foreign invaders anymore, but from corrupt Filipino elites.
Hernandez shows how greed and political decay shape post-war society. The Mandaragit, or predators, represent leaders who feed on public resources for personal gain, while ordinary citizens symbolize the oppressed suffering under systematic injustice.
The nation is portrayed as suffering under leaders driven by greed, figures who rise to power while the people are left to endure hunger, sorrow, and misfortune. At its core, the novel argues that corruption survives not because of a single leader, but because power is often concentrated in the hands of self-serving individuals. Hernandez warned us that unless citizens remain critical and engaged, this cycle will continue.
Mahigit 100 bilyong piso na ang nawala sa ekonomiya ng Pilipinas dahil sa mga ghost project kontra baha, ayon yan mismo sa Finance Department. Apektado rin ito ang credit rating ng Pilipinas na isa sa mga batayan ng pamumuhunan sa bansa.
Nitong September 21, 2025, nagkaroon ng malawakang kilos protesta sa Pilipinas. Naglabasan kasi ang mga unfinished, substandard at ghost project na malaking tulong sana sa isang bansang daanan ng malalakas na bagyo.
Ultimo sa health centers, may mga nabayaran pero hindi natapos na proyekto. Yan ang ibinunyag ni Health Secretary Teddy Herbosa sa budget hearing ng Senado kanina. Nadiskubre yan ni Herbosa matapos tingnan ang mga kontraktor na ibinunyag ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na nasa likod ng ghost flood control projects.
Fast forward today, political corruption remains one of the country's most persistent issues. In recent years, controversies have involved the misuse of public funds and overpriced government projects. For me, it's frustrating to see how these patterns continue because it directly affects the services ordinary people depend on: education, healthcare, and community support.
These ghost projects symbolize how corruption quietly steals opportunities from communities. Projects that could have improved our schools, hospitals, and roads just vanish on paper.
As someone who has seen how flood affects families and livelihoods, it's upsetting to know that some of these projects failed because of corruption.
This reflects how corruption is not just isolated cases. It's a system that keeps repeating because those in power fail to prioritize the public's welfare.
The resemblance to mga Ibong Mandaragit is striking, just as the novel elites protected their wealth. Today's official mismanaging public funds similarly weaken institutions and even opportunities for ordinary citizens.
Hernandez's message becomes clear. Corruption is not merely political, it is a moral failure, one that continues to harm those dependent on social services, education, and honest governance. As readers and citizens, we are reminded that change requires awareness, accountability, and the courage to demand better.
Mga Ibong Mandaragit is more than an historical novel. It is a warning. As long as those in power prioritize themselves over the people, corruption will remain a recurring chapter in our national history.
But through awareness, media literacy, and civic engagement, we can break this cycle. The responsibility begins with all of us.